Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into something really interesting, dual citizenship.
It's a big topic.
It really is. It sounds amazing, right? Like having a foot in two different worlds. But I always wonder, is it really that simple? You hear about having two passports, sounds like double the fun, maybe? Or is it more like double the tax headaches, maybe double the queues at immigration?
Yeah, it can definitely be both.
So our mission today is basically to unpack all of that. We want to look at what dual citizenship actually is, how you get it, how different places view it, and especially tackle those often tricky tax questions.
Absolutely, get people up to speed.
Exactly, give you a shortcut to understanding it all, maybe bust a few myths along the way.
It's all good.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning. What exactly is dual citizenship? Is it like literally just having two passports in your drawer?
Well, the passports are a part of it, definitely the most visible part. But fundamentally, dual citizenship, or dual nationality, means you're legally recognized as a citizen by two countries at the same time.
Okay, legally recognized.
Right. And that's key. It's not just about, feeling connected to two places. It comes with actual rights and responsibilities in both countries.
What kind of things?
Well, the rights are often what people focus on, the ability to live, work, maybe vote in both countries, travel freely between them.
The good stuff.
The good stuff, yeah. But then there are the obligations, things like potentially paying taxes in both places, or even mandatory military service, depending on the countries involved.
Ah, okay, so it's a real balancing act.
Exactly. Rights and responsibilities times two.
Got it. That clarifies the baseline. So, okay, definition down. How does someone actually end up being a dual citizen? Is it something you apply for, or can it just happen?
It can definitely just happen, sometimes automatically. But there are also intentional routes. There are sort of four main ways this comes about.
Four ways, okay.
Yeah. First, probably the most common, is by birth. This happens a lot when a child is born in a country that has just soli, that's Latin for right of soil, meaning citizenship based on where you're born.
Like the U.S.
Like the U.S., exactly. And if their parents are citizens of a country that grants citizenship by descent that's just sanguinis or right of blood, then the child might qualify for both.
Ah, okay. So born in one place, parents from another.
Right. Take maybe someone born in the U.S. to, say, Indian parents. The U.S. birth gives them U.S. citizenship automatically. And because their parents are Indian, they might qualify for Indian citizenship by descent.
Might qualify.
Well, yeah, and here's a really important point. India actually doesn't allow dual citizenship for adults. So in that case, the person would eventually have to choose. They wouldn't automatically keep both indefinitely. It highlights how crucial the specific country's rules are.
Okay, interesting distinction. So birth is one way. What else?
Another common path is by marriage. Marrying a citizen of another country often opens up a pathway to citizenship there. Sometimes it's faster than normal naturalization. If both countries allow it, boom, dual citizenship.
Right, marrying into it. Makes sense.
Then there's naturalization. This is the one people often think of. An immigrant living in a country long enough, meeting requirements like residency, maybe language tests, and applying to become a citizen.
Like formally applying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if their home country allows them to keep their original citizenship, and the new country doesn't require them to give it up, they become a dual citizen.
Provided both countries are okay with it.
Correct. That's always the key condition. And finally, there's by descent. This is interesting. Some countries, especially quite a few in Europe, allow you to claim citizenship if your parents, grandparents, or sometimes even great-grandparents were citizens, even if you were born and live elsewhere.
Wow, even great-grandparents.
Yeah, it can go back quite far in some cases. It's like reclaiming a family connection legally.
Fascinating. So birth, marriage, naturalization, descent, lots of ways in.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating is how differently countries around the world actually handle this. There's no single global rule.
Right, you mentioned the India example, so it sounds like there's a real spectrum of approaches. Can you walk us through that? Maybe start with the countries that are most open to it?
Sure. Broadly speaking, countries fall into three main camps. First, you've got those with full acceptance. These places are generally fine with their citizens holding another nationality. No major restrictions.
Okay. And who's in that group?
It's quite a large group, actually. Think places like the United States, the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Quite a few European countries like France, Italy, Ireland, Portugal, Belgium, Switzerland. Also South Africa, Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, the Philippines, Egypt, Turkey. Lots of places. It's probably the most common approach overall.
Okay, so that's the straightforward yes camp. Are there any, like, special conditions even within that group?
Yeah, there are a few nuances. Spain, for example, they generally allow it, but primarily with citizens from Ibero-American countries, the Philippines, Equatorial Guinea, Andorra, places with historical ties. It's not quite a universal yes.
Ah, okay. Specific partners.
Right, and countries like Pakistan and Bangladesh, they also allow dual citizenship, but only with certain specific countries listed in their laws, not just anyone. So even full acceptance can have some asterisks.
Got it. So full acceptance, sometimes with conditions. What's the next category?
The second group practices conditional or restricted recognition. These countries permit dual citizenship, but only under specific circumstances. It's not a blanket yes.
Like what kind of conditions?
It varies. Maybe it's only allowed if you acquire it automatically at birth, or perhaps only for minors who have to choose when they become adults. Sometimes it requires specific government approval. Germany and the Netherlands used to be stricter, but have eased up, though conditions remain. Japan is very restrictive. Singapore allows it only in very rare cases. Norway also fits here. They've become more open recently, but still have conditions.
Okay, so a maybe under certain circumstances group.
Pretty much. And then you have the third category, outright prohibition.
The hard no.
Exactly. These countries just don't recognize dual citizenship. If you become a citizen of another country, you're generally expected to give up your original citizenship. Sometimes it's automatic loss.
Which countries fall into this category?
Major examples include India, as we mentioned, China, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. The UAE generally prohibits it too, although they've recently carved out exceptions for special investors and highly skilled professionals. But for most people, it's a no.
Wow, okay. That's a really clear breakdown. Full acceptance, conditional, and prohibition. It really shows you need to know the specific rules for your countries.
Absolutely crucial. It's the starting point for everything else.
So, assuming you can have dual citizenship, legally speaking, what else do people need to think about? It's not just about having the right paperwork, is it?
No, definitely not. Once you have dual status, even where it's fully allowed, there are some really important practical things to consider. Things beyond just the basic rights.
It's like what?
Well, first and foremost, and often the most complicated, are tax obligations. This is a huge area. You might find yourself needing to understand and possibly file taxes in both countries. We should definitely circle back to this one.
Okay, taxes, not surprising, that's complex. What else?
Another big one is military service. Some countries require mandatory military service from their citizens, usually males, but sometimes females too.
Right.
And that obligation might apply even if you live primarily in your other country of citizenship. Think South Korea, Israel, Switzerland, Singapore, Turkey. If you're a citizen, you might get called up or face issues when you travel there if you haven't fulfilled the requirement.
Wow, okay. That could be a major life event you didn't plan on.
Absolutely. And finally, there can be public office restrictions. If you aspire to certain government jobs, especially high-level political roles or positions needing security clearance, many countries require you to hold only their citizenship. Undivided loyalty, basically.
So it could limit certain career paths.
It potentially could, yes. It's something to be aware of.
Taxes, military service, job restrictions. Definitely more to it than just passports. You mentioned taxes are often the most complex part.
Well, easily, yeah.
Yeah.
If we zoom in on that, taxation is where things can get really tangled for dual citizens. The main concern is the potential for double taxation, being taxed on the same income by both countries.
Right, nobody wants that. How likely is it?
Well, the potential is definitely there. It all depends on the tax systems of the two countries involved and whether they have agreements in place.
So how do different countries approach taxing their citizens, especially those living abroad?
There are fundamentally two different approaches. The first is worldwide income taxation. This is actually quite rare. Only two countries really do this, the United States and Eritrea.
Only two? Wow. What does that mean exactly?
It means they tax their citizens on all their income, no matter where in the world they earn it and no matter where they live.
So a U.S. citizen living and working in, say, France
still has to file a U.S. tax return every year, reporting their French income, and potentially pay U.S. taxes on it, even if they're paying French taxes already.
That sounds burdensome.
It is. It catches a lot of U.S. citizens abroad by surprise.
Yeah.
There are credits for foreign taxes paid, but the filing obligation itself is significant.
Okay, so that's the U.S. and Eritrea. What does everyone else do?
Most other countries use residence-based taxation. This is much more common. They primarily tax people based on where they are considered a tax resident.
Okay, so it's about where you live and work, mostly.
Generally, yes.
Yeah.
So if you're a dual Canadian-Australian citizen, but you live and work full-time in Canada, Canada will tax your income. Australia generally wouldn't tax that same Canadian employment income unless you had specific income sources from Australia, like rental property there or something. Your Australian citizenship alone doesn't trigger Australian tax on your Canadian earnings.
That sounds much more straightforward.
It often is, but complexity can still arise. Now, to prevent that double taxation problem we talked about,
Right.
countries often sign double taxation agreements, or DTAs, sometimes called tax treaties.
Okay, what do those do?
They're essentially rule books agreed upon by two countries to sort out who gets to tax, what kind of income, and how to provide relief if both countries do have a claim under their domestic laws.
So they stop you from paying tax twice.
That's the main goal, yes. They might say, for example, that business profits are taxed where the business operates, or employment income is taxed where the work is performed. And crucially, they usually include mechanisms like foreign tax credits, where you can reduce the tax you owe in country A by the amount of tax you've already paid on that same income in country B.
So these treaties are really important.
Hugely important.
No.
But it's important to know they don't always eliminate the filing requirement. You might still have to report income in both countries, even if the treaty ultimately means you only pay tax effectively in one.
Ah, okay. Still paperwork.
Still paperwork. And another layer is special rules for certain income. Things like pensions, capital gains from selling property, dividends, interest. The rules for these can be really specific in each country's tax code and also within the DTAs. Sometimes the treaties don't fully cover every situation, or the rules are complex, and you can still end up with a double tax if you're not careful with planning.
It sounds like a minefield.
It can feel like one. And on top of understanding the rules, there's the sheer compliance burden. Filing multiple tax returns, potentially in different languages, different tax years, and then there are extra reporting requirements. For U.S. citizens, there's FTAC, the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act.
FTCA, right. I've heard of that.
Yeah, it requires U.S. citizens to report their foreign bank accounts and financial assets to the IRS if they meet certain thresholds, even if they live abroad. The penalties for getting this wrong or for failing to file tax returns can be really severe, thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars or worse.
Oof. Okay, so given all this complexity, this potential minefield, what practical steps should someone who is or might become a dual citizen actually take to handle the tax side? It sounds like you can't just wing it.
No, definitely not winging it. That's probably the worst approach.
Yeah.
But there are absolutely things you can do to manage it effectively.
Okay, lay them on us.
First, and absolutely fundamental, know your tax residency status. Each year, figure out where each country considers you a tax resident based on their rules. It's often about physical presence, ties like home and family, economic connections. This determines primary taxing rights.
Right, residency first.
Second, check for those double taxation treaties. See if one exists between your two countries. If it does, understand its key provisions related to your type of income. It's your main tool for avoiding double tax.
Find the treaty, read the treaty, or get help reading it.
Exactly, which leads to the third point.
You-
Keep meticulous records. You need detailed records of all your income, where it came from, when you received it, and any taxes you paid on it in each country. Dates, amounts, everything. Good records are essential for accurate filing and your best defense if questions arise.
Makes sense. Be organized.
Absolutely. Fourth, and I really can't stress this enough, seek professional advice. Seriously. International tax is incredibly specialized. Laws change, treaties are complex. A professional who understands the tax systems of both your countries can save you so much time, stress, and potentially a lot of money by avoiding mistakes. Don't try to be your own expert here unless you truly are one.
Yeah, it sounds like money well spent.
Often, yes. And finally, number 5, plan before major changes. If you're thinking about moving countries, retiring abroad, selling a major asset, talk to an advisor before you do it. These big life events can trigger unexpected tax consequences. Planning ahead can help you structure things in the most tax-efficient way possible.
Plan ahead, get advice, keep records, know your residency, use the treaties. Okay, that's actionable.
It is. It takes effort, but it's manageable with the right approach.
So, wrapping things up a bit, dual citizenship clearly offers some amazing benefits, doesn't it? That freedom to move, work opportunities, just feeling connected to two places.
Absolutely. The advantages are real and very appealing for many people.
But as we've really dug into, especially with taxes, the obligations and complexities are just as real. That potential for double taxation, the filing burdens, it's not something to enter into lightly.
Precisely. The key takeaway, really, is that you need to be informed. Understand the rules of both your countries, Know about any treaties, keep good records, and crucially, don't be afraid to get expert help when you need it. If you do that, you can definitely enjoy the benefits while navigating the challenges successfully.
A proactive approach seems essential.
Couldn't agree more.
So maybe a final thought for our listeners. As you think about all this, the possibilities, the complexities, maybe reflect on what global belonging really means to you today. In a world that's so connected, yet still, defined by borders and passports, which national identity feels strongest? And how does that personal feeling line up with the sometimes stark legal and financial realities we've talked about?
That's a great point to ponder. The intersection of identity and legality.
Definitely. Okay, so just to briefly recap what we covered in this deep dive, we looked at what dual citizenship actually means, the different ways you can acquire it: birth, marriage, naturalization, descent. We explored how countries around the globe view it, ranging from full acceptance to conditional recognition, all the way to complete prohibition. And then we took a deep dive into those crucial, often complicated tax implications, understanding worldwide versus residence-based systems, the vital role of double tax agreements, and those essential practical tips for staying compliant and managing everything.
Covered a lot of ground.
We did. Hopefully that gives everyone a much clearer picture. All the best, and we will meet again with another important subject in the next meeting.